Hi, I'm Sung Rae.
I'm something else.
Here at Black Girl Seoul, a podcast where we discuss the Asian dramas we love from a Black female perspective. We are looking to be entertained, to learn about other cultures, and share our passion for these shows. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. This is Black Girl Seoul. I am something else with
Sung Rae.
And today we are talking about another show. Now, normally I'm confusing variety and reality show, but Sung Rae has told me this is a reality show. Okay? It's a K reality show called Ramyun and Chill. Yet again, I don't know jack-ish about it. So I'm going to listen the way y'all are listening as Sung Rae takes it away. Take it away, Sung Rae.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with DK TV. That is Danny Kim and David Kim. They are two South Korean guys who host YouTube shows, and they are always talking about whatever is hot in the news, what's going on, different topics all around. Their show is pretty interesting, but I'm not like an avid watcher of their show like that. Like I watch because something pops up in the title that it make me go, I want to see that. They're English speaking, and again, like I said, they're South Korean, and they film out of South Korea, but I like it because it's English and I don't have to do the subtitles or wonder and make sure it makes sense. So I like them for that part. Any which way, they produce this show. So David is your chief producer. They have a lady named Anna Lee who also joined them. She's a producer, and Danny Kim is the one who spawned this idea and decided to go ahead and turn this into a show and really do it. So I'll give you the premise. The premise is Ramyun and Chill is, I said I was going to give it to you, and then it disappeared off my screen. Sorry. It's about 5 females from around the world who are going to meet 5 Korean men. And I think it was 6, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't be sure right this second. But they meet these Korean men, and they basically are exploring the concept of international dating. And yes, they are calling it a reality show, not a variety show. Now, this still formulates and functions like the reality or variety shows that I'm used to seeing, but it does have a hint of American reality showness. So I kind of can see why they took the line of reality show as opposed to variety.
But they're not traveling for dick. They're traveling for romance. Oh,
yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
Yeah. We'll say that.
Oh, okay. Well, take it away, Sung Rae. Come on, tell us more.
So, Ramyun and Chill is basically a combination of the famous Korean phrase, K-drama phrase, "Do you want to go eat ramen at my place?" which is like the American phrase, "Do you want to Netflix and chill?" So they combine the two. That's how the show title came to be. And basically, you're just seeing how international women deal with dating, relationships, and things like that, as opposed to how Korean men and what their expectations are and how they function and move. So you have a hosting group. The hosting group is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 5 people. So you have a married couple who is an international married couple, the husband, and I want to give people's names, but right here, right now, I'm having problems finding where they have listed out the people. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why, but there's nowhere where I can go on my drama list or anywhere where they're listing out who was the cast, who was the host. So I'm pulling from different sources trying to get this to make it make sense. In your hosting group, though, you have a husband and wife team. The husband is South Korean, the wife is British. Danny Kim was one of the hosts. You have Megan. What's Megan's last name that we talked about that had the twins?
Who? Meghan Markle?
Yes.
Meghan Markle?
Not Markle. Is it Markle? No. Is it Markle?
She didn't have twins.
You're thinking of the wrong Megan. Something else.
Megan Thee Stallion?
No. Is it Megan Moon?
Oh, Megan Moon. Yes, girl.
Megan Moon, thank you. Megan Moon. Megan Moon is one of the hosts, and then there's a black guy. So Megan Moon is also internationally married. She's married to a South Korean man, and I believe she's an American.
Yes. Girl, she's
Okay.
from Georgia.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So she's an American. So that was the kind of reason why they had these people as hosts, so that they were coming from a perspective of not just, oh, I'm an American speaking on this subject, or I'm a Korean speaking on this subject, but we're people who are in these types of relationships, so we can kind of see where
Mm.
things could and would go. Okay.
No, I appreciate that they're trying to add some authenticity. They're not just smashing these folks together, pun intended. Ha ha ha.
Mm,
They're not smashing these folks together like and then putting a camera on them. They're trying to like be somewhat legitimate, like these are some of the issues that bicultural romances, interracial, not interracial, but like intercultural
yeah.
relationships may have, um some of the issues that they may have when together, and that they may have to think about, because it's still a reality show. So I don't realistically expect these people to date long term, but it shines a light. And that's appreciated, because who hasn't like watched a foreign film or a foreign show and you're like, I would get with him. And then it's like, no, in reality, would you get with him? Like, could you get with him? Like, where would you get a job? Like,
Right,
like
right.
there are real issues. Yeah, you all may look at each other and think, but the reality is, can you? Maybe not. Then maybe it's not realistic. Go on. I'm just
Oh,
going.
you're fine, because that is all the truth. You're so right, because you see it, and kind of at that point it's just fantasy. But if you were to try to make it reality, is it feasible? Can it happen? And so that's pretty much why Danny and David decided to do this. They said they had seen many of their friends who were interested in dating non-Korean women, but they hesitated because they were scared or insecure about language barriers or cultural differences. So the show was designed with that in mind, where they wanted to just kind of bridge that gap and give them an opportunity to meet other people from other cultures and see, was there opportunity for actual dating or romance to occur. So we'll start off with, I'm going to try, because again, y'all, they are blowing my mind that I cannot find the names of the uh contestants, like.
Well, let me help you out, because I was searching too, and I'm on IMDb, and
I
I
am too.
see, and I'm seeing like an Erica. Can't say her last name.
Yeah,
I
so hold
see.
it before you say them, because there's more than them. That's why I stopped at that. I was like, oh, it's
Oh,
way more than these five people they have listed here.
Lord,
And
you
that's
know
why I was
what?
like, okay, I don't understand this. Why did you only list them five? Where are the rest?
But
But
didn't you
I'll go with
say,
this.
yeah, go with that, and then just as a reminder, speak to how it is a independent project. So
It
maybe
oh,
that's
so let's
why.
talk about that right now.
Right.
So
And
this
I was just going to
is
say, maybe that's why they're not forthcoming with information in the places we would normally expect, because it is an atypical production.
Yes, so it is completely and totally independent. And so one of the things is, I had no clue about how the first one got going, but I realized that they are working on trying to do a part two, but they're doing a part two through what's called Kickstarter. So if you know anything about Kickstarter, that's where people pay into helping make something happen. And that's what they did for the first one. They had people who paid into making this show come to pass. So all of the usual production and stuff that you would normally have isn't really there. So am I going to say that it doesn't look like your traditional shows? Not 100%, but I'm going to give them 100% of credit that they did a great job with their editing. They did a great job of making sure cameras are in a variety of places. They did a great
Mm.
job of showing you the beauty of the lake that they went to, Lake 192, which is in South Korea. It's really pretty, and they noted, and one of the cast members noted, that that was somewhere where BTS had gone when they filmed one of their BTS in the Soups. So in which case, they did a good job of making sure they, got you those shots and did the editing correctly, and it doesn't look like a low budget film as I would think. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's good. That's good. Because sometimes that's the beef that people have when it comes to like independent projects, that they look kind of shoddy, or the cinematography is really off or low budget, and it undermines what the story is, what the message is. And so especially when you see that they're trying to do some kind of like reaching across cultural barriers, you don't want it to be undermined with like, a shaky camera, because it's
Right.
those little things that will like totally mess them up with audiences, and it's not fair, but it's what happens.
So with that because it's independent, it is difficult trying to find the list of who are the cast members, who's this and who's that. The problem with YouTube is that YouTube, it's per episode, so you can't go in there and find like one space where they're giving you all the details that you need for the show to make sense. But I am going to just go with what they have on IMDb because that's what we got. So you have a girl named Erica. Erica was, I believe, South African. She was one of the contestants. Sonia. Sonia was an American from Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Chan Yoon, South Korean. He was one of the contestants. Dan Kim. Dan, I believe, was American, if I am not mistaken. If he was not American, Dan is South Korean who lives in America because he was very Americanized in how he functioned and the stuff that he did. And after I read the synopsis, I realized all the men were South Korean. So he's probably a South Korean who lives in America. You had Tiffany. Tiffany was an American. You had Bella. Bella, I'm not sure if Bella was Ghanaian. I want to say I think she's Ghanaian, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know she's from Africa and she lives in South Korea. Um, who else was on there? There was another one. I can't think of her name right now. Was it Stephanie? Oh, I can't think of her name. She was another cast member. She was Chinese. You had at least 5 or 6 other guys. But again, they're not listed, so I don't want to say anybody's name incorrectly or call somebody out. But there were other guys on the show as well. So those were the women that they, I guess, got from the international scene to come and be guests on the show. Um, what I liked first was when they first got there, you could see 110% of all of the weirdness, if that makes sense. Like they were all so awkward. They were all so weird. They were all so, nobody kind of knew what to say to somebody else. Nobody really knew how to, you have those people who are just the natural extroverts. They're going to start talking and try to make friends. They were
Mm,
doing their parts, but then you got the others who are just kind of standing back and just watching and not really sure of which way to go or what to do. So that was really interesting to just get to watch them come out of that and start talking to each other and getting to know each other. You had those who were very, very reserved because they felt like they couldn't speak the language, but Bella speaks Korean. Tiffany spoke Korean, and one other person spoke Korean, if I'm not mistaken, one of the other girls. But
mm,
the majority of them were either English speakers. Yeah, they were English speakers. Everybody else could speak English. Yeah, everybody else could speak English, but those two were able to kind of help to do a little bit of filtering. Bella's
mm,
not very, she's not like as fluent as Tiffany was, but she was, good enough to kind of help with some stuff. So that was interesting. So they did the meet and greet. They come in together, they get to the house, figure out where people are going to be sleeping. So there was a boathouse and then there was like a main house. The guys stayed in the boathouse, the girls stayed and there were 2 main houses actually. The girls stayed in the 2 main houses and they kind of split up. I don't know if they played a game to choose who was going to go in the rooms, but I really feel like they did. I think there was a game that had to be played for them to choose who was going in the rooms, which is the variety portion of this.
mhm,
Um, once they got in the rooms, then they had like a little nighttime get together where they ate, they drank, and they did like a talent show. And people were able to get up and share their talents and kind of introduce themselves and talk about who they were. So you got a chance to kind of see, there were some who Bella, I think she's a aspiring rapper. She did a really cool rap. You learned that Tiffany was she a student or was she fully working? I can't remember. Dan was an accountant or something, if I'm not mistaken. You had more of them, I think, were like school age or doing like school stuff, or they had like first time jobs. So I think these people were like in the range of mid to early 20s, mid to late 20s era, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Um, Initially you really can't feel much of anything, but what I loved were the hosts, because there was a black guy. He was very just blunt about how he felt about stuff, like, why they picking her, she's not even that cute, I wouldn't pick
Oh,
her, stuff like that. Then you had Megan, who was, the buffer, like, well, in Korea, that's not something they do. They, that's not what, you can't expect that if you come with your American mindset. So like, she helped break those things down. The South Korean guy who was married to the British woman, he, had some great insight. So like, they helped to kind of help you understand things that were going on, or see why people were moving the way they were moving or doing what they were doing. So at the end of the first one, I don't think anybody went to the Ramyun and Chill room, but I think on the second episode, somebody wound up going. And again, games or competitions they were playing determined whether or not you'd be able to go to the Ramen and Chill room. So Bella went with some guy, I can't remember who she went with. She went with some guy, and she was the first one to get to go in. So in the Ramen and Chill room, it was really the weirdest setup, because I was like, oh, y'all setting them up for literal Netflix and chill style. It is a bed. There was a little bar, and that was it.
damn.
In a bathroom. I was just like,
So she could go clean herself up, huh? Mm,
I
mm,
was just
mm.
like, okay, now this is a little odd for me, because this is like going to a hotel room. Like, what
Right.
else is supposed to happen here? So all you see, and they did do a good job again editing, all you really see is them sitting on the bed talking, them drinking the wine. They had looked around the room, they played some music. I am not sure, but someone may have kissed. Be I can't remember if it was them or if I'm remembering Sonia and the guy she liked, because I know they kissed. Um,
But how long had they known each other?
Not long. Again, this is 4 nights. This show was a 4 nighter.
You know what? This sounds like this show doesn't know where it wants to be. Like if it wants to be earnest in the, and mind you, I'm pulling this completely out my ear, so correct me.
Mhm.
But it doesn't sound like it knows where it wants to be. On one hand, it's like, hey, they have high-minded ideals about like, cross-cultural um meeting and like, you know, not full on relationship, but at least date. And then you go to the other extreme using that name and it's like, hey, let's get it on. Like what the heck is going on? Why couldn't they have just, I understand the name and trying to like do a spin on the name, but I also think it's low key disrespectful. And I'm saying this as a horn dog, right? I'm a proud card carrying horn dog. I don't have a problem with the whole, hey, if you just gonna do what you do, you do what you do.
Oh,
But I'm like, come on, if you're just going to, hey, you're from one country, I'm from another, we're going to go on a date, then let them go on a actual date. Don't put them in a room with a bed and a half-ass TV and a bathroom so she can go prep herself and then come back out for like the main event. Like that don't, please correct me because I must be getting it wrong. Like,
again, that is the look of it. But I think one of the things that I took to heart, and I was like, okay, I can't say that I feel like that's just South Korean men. I think that's men. But it was like they kept saying, like, I think Megan made the point, and the South Korean guy married to the British woman, that the South Korean men are going to perform and function how you allow. So if you give them the room, they're going to do it, and if you don't, they'll, stand and uphold their space. I feel like that's all men. I don't think that's just me.
right,
I don't think that's just South Korean men. I feel like any man, if you give him the room to think, oh, okay, we smashing, okay, we gonna smash. But if
right.
you put it out there like, no, sir, we are here to get to know one another, and this is how this is gonna function, that's how it's gonna function. So you got to see that from other people with the room, because like with them, I think they wound up either, if they didn't kiss, they were like hugged up close together at some point in the night, because they stayed up to 5 in the morning talking. Everybody talked about that. So the window for the room is a big, huge pan window that you could, like, from downstairs look up and see into. They can close the curtains. They eventually did close the curtains. You could turn off the cameras. They eventually did turn off the cameras. So I don't know, we don't know what officially occurred. And so we're just gonna let that be off into the wind. Other people, you saw one person sat on one side, somebody sat on the other side, and they just talked. So it just kind of, I think, played out based upon people who went in there, their expectations, if that makes sense.
No, it does. But I'd have been like, nah, we need to start at the living room. We're not gonna start in the bedroom. Damn, I'm not a
Again,
hoe.
that's
I'm
all
just
they
a
had.
freak.
That was it. That was the Ramen and Chill room. So again, I feel like the way the room was set up was kind of very presumptuous. I would have preferred that, like, for instance, the second Ramen and Chill room, there was two. The second Ramen and Chill room had like a little seating bench where you could sit on the bench, like it was a, what do you call it? Or not a roadster. What are those, the houses on wheels?
Trailers?
Not a trailer, but like, the traveling houses that people,
RV?
yeah, like a RV. So you had the table with the two seats on the other side, and then over on the side was the bed, a little cooking area, for them to
Jesus.
do the wine and drinks and whatever. But so, like, for me, that one made more sense because nobody really went to the bed. They all sat on the bench because that's where you would start. If I'm just getting to know you, I'm not going straight to the bed with you. Sorry, that's too much playing. But again, that's just me. That's just me.
See, see, I think what happened was when they sold the idea, it was cute to say ramen and chill. But like in execution, it just looked skeevy a little bit. That's just my opinion. And
And I
it's not
mean, this
because,
is you without having seen it, because this is just
right,
me telling you what I perceived and what I saw for the first time of seeing the Ramen and Chill room and not knowing there was a second one, just thinking, why is it just the bed? Why couldn't there be some chairs in here, or at least a little seating area to sit and talk
right,
first before we wind up sitting on even if we wanted to lay back and watch a movie together or whatever, start
right,
here. You don't start there. That's just, but again,
right. I mean, and it's just like you said, very presumptuous that like okay, I am not with that like retro, where the woman is saying no, but she really means yes and all that BS. Like if you want to do what you want to do what you want to do. Okay. But I feel like when you have like a reality show, at least like building some space. It's like if you go to the bachelor and then the minute you go on a date with a bachelor, he starts at the hot tub. Yeah, you get to the hot tub eventually, but even American shows start with a basic date with a table. Damn.
and even
Sorry.
on Singles Inferno, we'll talk about that at another time, but even on Singles Inferno, I at least appreciated they start them like it's a hotel room that is such a hotel room. It's like a suite. So there's a living room, there's a dining room space, there's all of this before you get to a bedroom. And
Right.
so when you first come in, the first thing they're usually doing is getting something to eat. So they're in the dining room, and then they might move to the living room to have drinks and chit chat and talk, and they sit there for hours. Then when it's time for bed, people are going to their separate spaces.
Right. Think about it. Dude comes over, middle of the night. You start in the living room. You don't go directly to the bedroom unless you done some stuff with him a couple of times. You don't go directly. I mean, it's not, no, I have nothing against it if that's what you want to do. But like the first time, can he sit on the couch? Can we have a couch? Can we just protect, our sensibilities and our honor a little bit, just with a little couch sitting? Damn. I
So
mean, the initial Netflix and chill was on couches. It wasn't on beds.
okay.
It's on couches. That's listen, the the unspoken, the unspoken rule is the subtext is well, no, the above the text, I don't know what you call that, not the subtext, but the opposite of that is that, oh, you're coming over to watch a Netflix movie? Okay. You know what's up with what's gonna go down. But the assumption is you're coming to watch a movie. You do that in the living room. You're not going directly to the bedroom. Lord have mercy. Go on. It's your reality show. Go on. Let me stop interrupting.
You're fine. So from there, you also kind of like began to, because I think it was 5 episodes, if I'm not mistaken, you begin to like kind of see personalities come out. So Dan, was it Dan Kim? I think that was his name. Dan is the American who, or the South Korean who's living in America because he functioned like an American man. With Dan, what I found to be most interesting was that he did all of the, and I hate to say this as one, but I'm just gonna have to go here, like the American bravado, where, oh yes, I'm for this and I like this, and he's putting forward all these faces, but then by the end of the show, that didn't pan out. And it was kind of like, wow. I'm not gonna tell because it is a total spoiler, and I would prefer for people, if you're gonna watch it, watch it. I'll tell you offline, no problem. But because
Can't
you're
you just tell
obviously
us on the
not.
other side of the spoiler alert?
Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay. I'll tell you on the other side of the spoiler. Any which way, he just didn't pan out to be who he was presenting himself initially. You had the chick Sonia, she was who she was. The girl Erica, Erica was a weird case for me. And so I really want to delve a bit deeper into her because they talked about her, but they didn't like get into the whole issue. And I think a part of that was cultural. And so for me, I need some help from anybody who may have watched this show. If you saw it, if you watched, and if you happen to understand, I guess, mindsets from her culture, because she was just real odd to me. The things that she was claiming that she wanted, expressing that was happening. So like she just had all these issues and it was just weird for me. And I couldn't understand her. Then you had Tiffany. Tiffany, she seemed like she just had a very focused, here's what I want, here's what I'm doing, and she wasn't willing to bend about that. Towards the end, she got a little bit more flexible, but initially she was just very rigid about what she wanted and what she was looking for. And it is what it is. I think that's a fair play because some people, if you know what you want, that's what you're going for in the story. However, others, because a lot of the guys were interested in her, she wasn't giving room for them to, I guess, even express or talk to her for real. Like you didn't get to see it. So I'm not sure if they had those interactions, but it just seemed like she was very stuck on here's what she wanted and here's what she was doing. She and Dan did a lot of talking together. And maybe because, being Koreans who live in America, or in her, she's an American Korean, but being, from the same culture living in this country, they seem to have a lot to talk about and a lot to share. And so initially, I think Dan called herself interested, but then that just didn't pan out because she was not interested in Dan. Somebody else became interested in Dan, but yeah. So it was just interesting. I can't tell you much other than honestly, this is one of those. I'm gonna tell you, you want to go watch it. It's not a lot of invested time. I think like each episode, let me go see, might have been Hmm. Okay, so each episode looks like it's about an hour. So that's 5 hours invested if you decide to go watch. But I kind of feel like it's worthy of the watch because it was an interesting take on dating shows, interesting take on seeing people interact with other cultures, and yeah, it was good.
So what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give this like a 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's getting a half and not a 9 because like I said, there was some things that I was just like the room and like, okay, do we all know why we're here? Do we realize this is, you're trying to see if something could happen, but we don't have to try to force play something to like, do you get what I'm saying?
Right. And that's why I'm kind of saving my other comments um, for the other side of the spoiler
Yeah, so
alert.
I'm ready for that if you are.
Okay, so y'all know how it works with us. We're about to spoil the hell out of this thing. And so if you want to go watch the show and then come back, you can. You can always comment. We always want your comments if this is where
Please
we're
and thank
going
you.
to lose you. But hopefully you will come listen to the rest or continue with us. because I have questions and opinions having never seen the show. That's how bold I am. I give no F's. I will give my opinion. So the spoiler alert is in effect. And here's what I'm going to say first off. I have to wonder at the motivation of the chick who was like cutting off all the dudes, because one, I have to wonder about her motivation for even being on the show. And two, I have to wonder about whether they actually had her vet or review any of the um other contestants, right? Because I think if you do a little bit of that, then you you can weed out some folks. Maybe they were so thirsty to have the the show that they didn't actually sit down beyond interviewing her and go, hey, any of these guys look good to you? Any you feel any kind of connection? You get what I'm saying? Like, I do feel that when it comes to like these dating reality shows, at least the American ones, you get some kind of, like the Bachelor has looked over these chicks and he knows the ones that he's kind of feeling. He cuts some of them out. When you have these reality shows where it's a bunch of people in a house or something like that, you kind of get, what kind of person are you into? Okay, that the person they say they're into matches this person and this person and that person and that person. If you have her on the show and she's pretty much knocking all these dudes out, they should have known that before they started filming. They should have known that, like, she just wasn't interested. Like,
I don't
maybe,
I think
did you
though,
get that impression?
aside from that, I'm gonna tell you what they say on their Kickstarter page, but aside from that, she was a good buffer regardless, even if she didn't choose to quote unquote make a love connection with somebody. She did, but even if she didn't choose to,
Oh, she
because
did.
I told you she was the one who she speaks Korean fluently and she speaks English fluently, so she was able to help with making people feel a little bit more comfortable and getting people to say stuff that they might not have said, I guess, because they thought language was an issue. So her on the show, she was needed for
Okay,
me.
initially I got the impression that like she was just like not you, not you, not you, not you. And
Yes,
then
she did for most of them, but she did in, one person at the end of the show. What happens is there's the guy is the one choosing. So the guy comes to the room and he asks, do you want a Netflix and chill or Ramyun and Chill? And you have the opportunity to say yes or no. She did say yes to her person,
okay.
but she
Which
had
may have
more than one person who came and asked.
Yeah, which may have been her like giving the happy ending, pun intended. Because I mean, I'm so brilliant. I don't even know I'm gonna come up with this stuff. Anyway, but she may have been giving that happy ending, but she really didn't, it didn't matter, like after filming, she's like, deuces, y'all, and she goes on back home. I don't know. Or maybe that was part of her shtick, that
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily feel like she's problematic because if I know what I'm looking for and I meet you, I've had the chance to have everybody did their introductions, did their talent. I got to watch you all for a day. Then we start doing dates because you can start going on dates and whatnot with people or little mini sessions. And as I'm getting to know people and talk to people, I'm not feeling you. I mean, show or not, if I ain't feeling you, I ain't feeling you.
okay.
That's
No,
that's me. That works for me. That's fine for me.
no, no, no. When you describe it like that, yes. I mean, I just thought it was given that it's like all of 4 days or something like that. I just felt like
Literally, it says 3 nights, 4 day filming schedule.
right. I in my head, I initially pictured like not you, not you, hell no, not you, not you. Like I just pictured her just like cutting folks off, and that's why I was like, damn, okay, did you want to do this? So the other question I wanted to ask you is really break down how weird the weird chick was. Like,
I am, but
was
before I get to her, so
Mhm.
like you had Sonia. Sonia initially just came across as, I don't think anybody, so on the very first day after they did they're literally just meeting each other. They haven't done the drinking, the eating, none of that. They have just started meeting each other. And they tell them, if you were to pick, it's the guys again, if you were to pick someone based upon just initial greetings and looks, who would you pick? And so the guys go stand behind the people that they would pick, just based on this initial first, I think 5-10 minutes worth of meeting. And of course we know it's probably longer. For us it looks like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay.
Mm.
No one chose Sonia, and she was really bummed about that, like, oh, nobody chose me, or this or that. But it didn't knock her down like, oh gosh, I can't function. She kept
No.
on going, and eventually there was a night when they had like a little mini party, and her and the guy had, I think she must have been eyeing him all along, but they, kept on, and they had been drinking. Some of us were a little too drunk, but hey, y'all doing y'all.
Right.
That's
Have a
when her
good
and old
time.
boy kissed. And so, okay, they wound up staying together the whole show. And I think he did come to her and she said yes. So that was that. Now, are they really a couple still? Are they dating still? Don't know. Did she go back to America? He's still in South Korea. I don't know none of that. I just know that's what happened for the show. So I was like, okay then. So you handled her business. She did her. With Bella, her and Dan eventually became buddy and hung out and kicked it and went on a boat ride together. And I mean, it seemed like they were going to be the couple. And Dan wound up going to old girl who was knocking folks out. He wound up going to her and asking him, did she want to Ramyun and Chill? And she told him no.
Yeah, dummy Dan.
Exactly.
Duh.
So Bella was like, I was really kind of shocked by that, because I just assumed he was going to come. Like, we had been hanging out, chilling,
She assumed he
everything
was going to
seemed.
come. Maybe he did.
Yeah,
And
okay,
then he
not for
was
her.
done.
Look, let me quit, but I don't know about that. So yes. Any which way. That just didn't wind up panning out. There was the girl, I'm calling her Stephanie, but I cannot remember her real name. Stephanie was the Chinese girl. Nobody came for her, I don't think. I don't think anybody came. She wound up being one of the last people. Nope, Bella was the last one in the house. Somebody might have come for her, but she said no, because that's not who she wanted. She was looking for it to be somebody else. Old weird chick, Erica. Okay.
What was she doing?
Erica,
Picking her nose in public?
no,
What?
just I'm getting there. Erica started off just like everybody else. She's kind of reserved, quiet, and I can't remember if someone stood behind her that first day or not, but I'm not sure. Dan did try to ask her out. She told him no, because they had the opportunity to just, outright say, hey, would you like to go on a date with me, or would you like to do this with me? She told him no. She was interested in one guy, but the one guy was not interested in her. She kept on trying to come for him, trying to be around
Another
him.
one of those obsessive chicks?
Yes, girl, yes. Jesus
Damn
Christ,
it, man.
yes.
Which tells me that she has her card carrying, which tells me that she is a card carrying member of the stalker crew. Okay. Because take the hint and walk away. Why keep on? Anyway.
And so at the party, the night they had the party, somehow it was her, Dan, and somebody else, and they're talking, and she was like, she turns it into a racial thing, and I think it's because I'm Black and you guys aren't interested in me and nobody's trying to talk to me and this, that, and the third. And so Dan was like, I asked you out and you told me no. That's not what I mean. That's not the same thing. And I mean, she was so serious. And so the problem I was having was Bella was giving her ear time. And I'm going, Bella, check her ass. Tell her, heifer, people tried to talk to you, but because it wasn't old boy, you didn't want to pay attention. If it had been him, you'd have been just as happy as a lark. But because it wasn't him, you shut everybody else out. And then you tried to act like they didn't give you time or give you any air room, because that was her whole complaint, was that nobody's looking at her, nobody's talking to her. And if she had known this, she wouldn't have come on the show, this, that, and the third. But what it really was the one that she wanted to be talking to her wasn't talking to her. And therefore now the whole show is a problem. When people did try to talk to you, but you did not give them any, like, had you at least gone on a date with Dan, it would have been an opportunity to say, yeah, I knew you was foolish and we're gonna keep this moving. But you didn't even give him an opportunity. You shut him down before You know what I'm saying? It was just weird because at least with old girl who I told you was the shutdown girl, she
Mhm.
at least went on a date with Dan before telling him no when he asked her about Ramyun and Chill. They went and had a lunch date. And that was where you realized they were, more alike, I guess, than dateable. Dan obviously didn't see that, but she did. In her head, she saw it as like, we're friends because we had a lot of stuff we could talk about and the conversation was good, but I wasn't feeling him like that, which made sense to me. With
Yeah.
Erica, though, on the other hand, you didn't even give Dan a chance. And I want to say somebody else might have asked her to do something. But after that day, oh, she was for real on ain't nobody talking to you type situation. Why? Because how you gonna turn this into something else when no ma'am, that's not what this was.
I hate it when people pull the race card.
Girl, who you telling
Mm.
about dumb stuff?
Dumb stuff. Yeah. If you pull the race card and it's like for real, then I'm all for you cutting like spades. But when you pull the race card because you were dumb, ma'am, go away. Go completely away.
And I mean, it didn't even fit because, again, it had been different literally if none of the guys had tried to talk to her or Bella, then I could have seen you saying that. Bella had folks. She was popular the whole damn show. And and because Bella is obviously an extrovert because she, like I said, she was one of the people talking and getting people going.
Mm.
And somebody did try to talk to you, but you turned him down. And he even said that night, I tried to talk to you then. So what about now? What if I asked you to go out now? Would you go out with me now? And she was like, well, no, it's not like that. You're not understanding.
Oh,
You shut him down a second time. So you shut him down twice when he
yeah, no
tried
one
to
has
give you the
time.
opportunity. Girl, go lay down with that.
Right. Well, lay
And I
down is
really
right.
wish that the host would have like better address that because I don't know if everybody was trying to keep hands off because it was a racial thing that got thrown out there. I don't know.
I
But
could
I was
believe it.
agitated because I wanted somebody to tell, say on live, Heifer, you tripped. You played your doggone self.
Yeah, where was Megan Moon?
I'm telling you, they kind of danced around it. They talked
Damn.
about other stuff, but nobody really lit
Like,
into you literally had guys trying to talk to you and you did not give them any room. Like you're
right.
saying people are interested in you, but you were spending all your time trying to talk to, I think his name was He Chan, but I can't remember. Spending your he Chuck, maybe some whatever. I'm not gonna try and mess his name up. But he was a weightlifter.
Hmm.
She was so busy trying to talk to him, but he was not interested in her.
Right. You have to move on.
And part of
Pivot.
his issue was too, and he said the language. He doesn't speak English. You don't speak Korean. That's not working too well.
Right. It's not realistic. Some people it's like they want to try and figure that out, and other people don't have a high threshold for, miscommunication.
And
So,
that's what because he had tried using, I think it's Papago is the translator app they use. They use Papago a few times, but like I think for him that was more of a hurdle than it was we can make it work with Papago. No, for her it was like, well, we were talking and we this and yeah, that
mm-mm,
moving on.
mm-mm. Yeah. Some people it's hard for them to like get past disappointment and they get obsessive. So, but I did want to ask you about Dan the man. So what happened? Could he not perform?
I don't
What
know.
was his deal?
Dan and Bella didn't work out because he chose to go and ask Tiffany. And Bella, was just like, wow, I'm kind of shocked that that's what you chose to do.
Oh, okay. So that's what you meant when you alluded to him kind of like messing up.
Right, because him and Bella had been like literally to the day before they did the final, do you want to ramen and chill with me? Him and Bella had been hanging out. They had like gone on the boat ride. They had a wine date. Like they had done a few things, and I was just like, "What the hell, Dan? What are you doing?" Yeah, it
Well,
was weird.
sometimes folks self-sabotage.
He totally did. Oh, he totally did.
It's like, oh, let me shoot my shot in this direction that I never went in, never prepped
No, that
the
was the
landscape
problem.
for
He
nothing.
had. Remember, I told you him and Tiffany had gone on a lunch date, and it was kind of like Tiffany left with the feeling of, oh, okay, yeah, we're good friends. We could talk. We could talk about stuff. And they had talked a few other times where, they just chilling and talking. I think for Dan, because he wasn't paying attention to the other signs in the room, Tiffany wasn't coming towards you romantically. She was just talking because you were somebody she could relate to. she was interested in someone else or giving room to somebody else. Bella was the
Oh,
one who you were flirting with and all of that stuff. So what possessed you to? It was kind of like I'm talking to a girl, but my friend over here that I have been having this crush for years. I'm gonna go shoot my shot with my friend, even though I'm talking to her romantically. You get me?
yeah. That is some,
It was just
you know,
weird, and it was real shocking because nobody saw that coming. Even the hosts were like, "What?" when he went to Tiffany's room.
yeah, he was, yeah. I'm sure he's not the first guy or first woman for that matter to like do something crazy like that. Like, just because you all talk as friends, if you all had really been about that, then he would have been romantic with what's her name, Tiffany or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the whole time. That's what I mean by prep.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
would have been like, oh, okay, we got something. And then for the rest of the days, it'd have been like two peas in a pod. But if you're not two peas in a potting with her and you see her off elsewhere, I don't know. Sometimes people just don't read cues. I mean, that happens to
That
everybody.
seriously, and I think that's really for him where he went wrong was he did not read the cues in the room.
Well, is there anything else you want to add about this drama, or do you want to give yet again that big push to the listeners on why they should um, watch this reality show?
Well, I'm definitely gonna say yet again, yes, go watch it because it was a good watch. If you like dating shows, if you like reality shows slash variety shows, yes, go watch this. Also, they are getting ready for season two. So, and they're prepping for season two. They've got their Kickstarter started, so you can kickstart if you would like. But they're also looking for contestants. So, if you are interested in being on a reality show and want to be a dating contestant, you can head here to find out more information about how to become a contestant and what they're looking for. The other thing is that I was going to share. They're looking to get onto an OTT, so like either like a Netflix or someplace where they can not have to do the YouTube push, so that it can become more seen by others and people who are interested. But it was a really good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hosts. I enjoyed the contestants. I enjoyed it all. It was really good. Like I said, there was a couple of deals I would have changed, like that whole Ramyun and Chill room and what that looked like. I might have changed, just making sure people, I don't know what their criteria were, and I'm sure they have videos where they explain this because Danny and David do a great job of thoroughly giving you details on why they're doing what they're doing. I'm sure they have videos where they probably explain how the contestants were picked, what they told them in advance. I just didn't watch those. But if you watch them and you have more details about that, because that's the other thing I'm kind of concerned, like, what were the people given before getting on the show so that, I guess people were coming from the same place? Because in some senses, it felt like people were coming from the westernized point of view of, oh, we're going to if we do a one night stand, it is what it is. Where others were coming from a place of, oh no, I thought this was a dating show. I was looking to date.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like there were some differing opinions happening, if that makes sense.
right. And not because you asked me, but because I just feel like saying it. I'm not watching this show. Um
Okay.
I want other people to watch it because support I don't support in this case, but I want other people to support um independent productions, and maybe the second time around they'll iron out some of the stuff. But like in general, I'm not like I'm not so into any kind of dating reality show because I am a hardcore romantic. And so this is not real to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so off top, it's not going to be my super thing. It helps to listen to Song Ray talk about it, but chances are, like, even the first time they walked into that, like, um,
Ramen and chill.
yeah, the hotel room, I'd have been like, okay, I would have watched it to see if they got it on. Like the horn dog in me, the freak in me would have been like, well, that's a show to watch. Like if I thought the show was about a bunch of people, like realistically getting it on, I'd have been like, maybe I'll watch this. But the confusion throws me off, like you just said. That is what throws me off. I feel like they're a tease. Like either
Well,
deliver or don't deliver at all.
I
Like
think that
either
is the
be
part that makes
romantic.
it, that's the part for me that makes it good, is that you are coming from different mindsets. And that's why I said the Western point of view of a one night stand, or are we going to try and actually like, and I'm not saying all Westerners function this way, because
Right.
obviously we know that is not true. And that's a stereotype. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is that mindset of, oh, this is what in the West would we do. No, I'm looking for, and I think that was what I kind of wondered what was said so that I would have a better perspective of, was this truly just cultural exchange, or did they tell y'all this, that, or the third? So that was why I want to know. Not necessarily that I feel like it was a push or pull or a let's be confused. No, I kind of feel like maybe people didn't, they went in not knowing what to expect.
No, I guess so legit. If they were all given the same kind of statement, but they have their own sensibilities, that's
Right.
worth like watching and like exploring.
And so
Um,
that's also where I was getting ready to go when you said, you wouldn't watch it just for those people who are into reality shows, dating shows, things like that. This is the type of show I think that you would enjoy because it was a mix of things that we've kind of never seen. There's never been a show like this before, and I kind of like that too as well because it's independent. This is something that was put out. It was different and gave me a different perspective to see how international relationships happen in this sense. So yeah, it was cool.
and if you all think that Sung Rae should apply to be on the reality show, please let us know because I
Um,
think she would.
okay.
Think you.
Something else is doing too much right now, y'all. So you can please ignore her. No, thank you. Moving on.
You'd have a good time. You would tear it up. You'd totally have those men in a tizzy. They'd be like, wait a minute, which way am I going? And coming? Am I coming or am I going? Oh my God, it would be fun. I would watch that show. I would watch a show where you're like a reality contestant. That would be hilarious to me. Because it would be a nice mix of you being realistic and romantic. you I can see it when you're like, okay, I'm in this bedroom. Did you all bring a condom? Oh, you did. Oh, you're not serious, huh? Okay, I guess we just go watch this movie. I'm sorry.
Whole hot
I
mess.
tickle
Whole
myself.
hot mess. Anyway, if you're interested, please check out Ramyun and Chill on Netflix.
Look, somebody is like, we are moving the hell on.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. We are Black Girl Soul. I am something else with.
So Gray.
Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Black Girl Soul. We enjoyed having you, and please subscribe, like, and follow our Facebook page, YouTube channel, Twitter page, Instagram page, and join our Facebook group. You can also find us on Patreon. Please look below for links. See you guys next week.